Maya stared at her phone screen, watching the three dots appear and disappear for the fifth time. Finally, the message came through. "Hey, you're really nice, but I just don't think we're a match. Good luck out there." She let out a long breath and set her phone face down on the coffee table. That made it 12 rejections in 3 months. 12 different ways of being told she wasn't good enough, wasn't interesting enough, wasn't whatever enough. Her small apartment felt extra quiet. That evening, the city lights twinkled outside her window, but inside everything felt dim. Maya worked as a graphic designer for a local advertising company. She was good at her job, really good. Her boss always praised her creativity, and clients specifically requested her for their projects. But when it came to dating, it felt like she was speaking a different language. The dating apps on her phone had become her worst enemies. She would spend hours crafting the perfect messages, choosing the right photos, trying to sound fun but not desperate, interesting but not weird. Nothing worked. Guys would match with her, chat for a few days, maybe even go on one date, and then vanish like smoke. Last week, she had gone on what she thought was a great date with Alex, a software engineer. They talked about movies, shared stories about their families, and laughed until her cheeks hurt. When he walked her to her car, she genuinely believed she would hear from him again. 3 days of silence later, she got the classic, "You're amazing." But ... text. Maya pulled her laptop onto her lap and opened her dating profile again. Maybe she needed different pictures. She scrolled through dozens of photos on her phone. There was one from her sister's birthday party where she was laughing at something her nephew said, another from a hiking trip where her hair was messy but her smile was genuine. She had tried professional photos, casual selfies, group pictures, solo shots. Nothing seemed to work. Her best friend Lisa always tried to help. "Maybe you're being too honest too quickly," she would say. "Don't tell them about your cat obsession on the first date." But Maya couldn't understand why she had to hide parts of herself to make someone like her. Wasn't the point to find someone who actually liked her for who she was? The worst part was family gatherings. Every holiday, every birthday party, the questions would start. "Are you seeing anyone special? When are we going to meet someone? You know, your cousin just got engaged, ... Maya had started making excuses to skip family events just to avoid the conversations. She thought about her coworker, Jenny, who seemed to have guys lined up wanting to date her. Jenny was bubbly and flirty and knew exactly what to say to make men chase after her. Maya watched her work and tried to copy her techniques, but it felt fake and uncomfortable. When she tried to be someone else, she just felt silly. Maya closed her laptop and walked to her kitchen to make tea. The kettle whistled loudly in the quiet apartment as she poured the hot water over her chamomile tea bag. She wondered if maybe there was something fundamentally wrong with her. Maybe she was too serious, too boring to something. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. For a split second, her heart jumped, thinking maybe Alex had changed his mind. But it was just a notification from another dating app, suggesting new matches. She ignored it. The truth was, Maya was tired. Tired of getting dressed up for dates that led nowhere. Tired of practicing conversations in the mirror. Tired of analyzing every text message for hidden meanings. Tired of feeling like she was auditioning for a role in someone else's life. She sat back down on her couch with her tea and looked around her apartment. She had built a nice life for herself. She had plants that she managed to keep alive, books stacked on every surface, art supplies scattered around from her weekend projects. She had a job she enjoyed, friends who cared about her, and hobbies that made her happy. So why did she feel like such a failure? Maya picked up her phone and opened her notes app. She started typing things that are wrong with me according to dating apps. She paused, finger hovering over the screen. Then she deleted it and typed instead, things I like about myself. She wrote down 15 things before she ran out of space. Maybe the problem wasn't her. The problem was that she was looking for love in all the wrong places, in all the wrong ways. Maybe she needed to stop trying so hard to fit into someone else's idea of the perfect girlfriend and start focusing on finding someone who appreciated the person she already was. But as she sipped her tea and scrolled through social media, happy couples everywhere, She couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. All her friends were getting married, having babies, moving in with boyfriends. She was starting to feel left behind, like she had missed some important memo about how to make relationships work. The rejection from Alex still stung. Not because she was madly in love with him after one date, but because it was another reminder that no matter how well a date seemed to go, she always ended up alone on her couch, wondering what she had done wrong this time. Maya finished her tea and decided tomorrow would be different. She would delete the dating apps, stop asking friends to set her up, and focus on herself for a while. Maybe if she stopped looking so hard, something good would find her instead. Maya stared at the invitation in her hands for the third time that week. Her younger sister Priya was getting engaged, and the whole family was throwing a celebration party. The gold lettering seemed to mock her as she read the words, "Join us for a night of love and happiness." She loved her sister, really she did. Priya was only 26 and had found her perfect match in college. They had been together for 4 years and everyone knew this engagement was coming. But that didn't make it any easier for Maya to face. Another family gathering where she would be the only single person over 25. The party was at her parents' house. And Maya arrived fashionably late, hoping to avoid some of the initial crowd. But as soon as she walked through the front door, her Aunt Rita spotted her. "Maya, sweetheart, you look lovely. Are you here with someone tonight?" Rita asked, looking around expectantly. "No, just me," Maya replied with what she hoped was a confident smile. "Oh, honey, don't worry. Your time will come. Maybe you're just being too picky." Rita patted her arm sympathetically before moving on to congratulate the happy couple. Maya made her way to the kitchen, grabbing a glass of wine and trying to blend into the background. But hiding was impossible in her family. Within an hour, she had fielded questions from 3 aunts, 2 cousins, and her grandmother about her dating life. "Have you tried online dating?" her cousin Ravi asked. "My friend met his wife that way." "Yes, I've tried that," Maya said, taking a bigger sip of wine than she probably should have. "What about speed dating? Those professional matchmaker services," suggested her cousin Mira. "I saw this documentary about people who pay someone to find them dates." Maya nodded politely, but inside she was screaming. Everyone had advice, but no one seemed to understand that she had tried everything. She had been on dating apps, gone. 2 singles events, asked friends to set her up, even tried joining clubs and hobby groups to meet people naturally. Nothing worked. The worst moment came when her uncle started giving a speech about Priya and her fiancé Tom. "They're proof that when you find the right person, everything just clicks," he said, raising his glass. "True love is out there for everyone." Maya felt tears prick her eyes. She excused herself and went to the bathroom, locking the door behind her. Looking at herself in the mirror, she wondered if maybe she was broken somehow. Maybe some people were just meant to be alone. When she got home that night, Maya sat on her couch with her laptop and another glass of wine. She had reached a new low, and desperate times called for desperate measures. She found herself Googling things she never thought she would search for. Professional matchmaking services, arranged marriage in modern times, and even fake boyfriend. For hire, the results were more varied than she expected. There were expensive matchmaking services that promised to find her perfect match for thousands of dollars. There were websites where people offered to be fake dates for events. There were even articles about modern arranged marriages and how some people were going back to more traditional ways of finding partners. Maya clicked on an article about a woman who had asked her parents to help arrange her marriage. The woman talked about how exhausting modern dating had become and how she wanted to try a more practical approach to finding a life partner. Maya found herself nodding along as she then she stumbled across a forum where people discussed their unconventional approaches to finding love. Some had tried professional matchmakers, others had placed ads in newspapers, and a few had even considered paying actors to pretend to be their boyfriends for family events. One post caught her attention. A woman wrote about how she had been so tired of family pressure that she seriously considered hiring someone to play her boyfriend for her sister's wedding. She never went through with it. but the comments section was full of people sharing similar thoughts and experiences. Maya closed her laptop and leaned back on her couch. Was she really considering these options? The idea of paying someone to pretend to like her felt pathetic, but the idea of facing another family event alone felt almost worse. Her phone buzzed with a text from Priya. "Thanks for coming tonight. I know family gatherings can be hard when everyone asks about dating. Love you, sis." Maya smiled despite her mood. At least her sister understood. She texted back, "Congratulations again. So happy for you both." But as she got ready for bed, Maya couldn't stop thinking about what that woman in the forum had written. Maybe the problem wasn't that she was unlovable. Maybe the problem was that she was playing by rules that didn't work for her. The next morning, Maya woke up with a headache and a sense of clarity she hadn't felt in months. She was tired of feeling like a victim of circumstances. She was tired of letting other people's timelines and expectations make her feel bad about herself. Something had to change, but not in the way she had been thinking. Instead of trying to fix herself to fit someone else's idea of the perfect girlfriend, maybe she needed to completely change her approach to finding love. Maya made herself coffee and sat down with a notebook. She started writing down everything she had learned about herself over the past few months of dating disasters. She was kind, creative, loyal, and honest. She loved deeply and cared about others. She had built a good life for herself. Maybe instead of looking for love in bars and on apps, she needed to look for it in places where she could be herself completely. Maybe she needed to stop trying to impress people and start focusing on connecting with them. As she finished her coffee, Maya felt something shift inside her. She was done with the desperate search for validation. It was time to try something completely different. Maya decided to try something completely different. Instead of focusing on finding someone to date, she would focus on doing something meaningful with her time. She had always wanted to volunteer, but never made the time for it. Now seemed like the perfect opportunity. After browsing through various volunteer opportunities online, she found something that caught her attention. The Community Learning Center was looking for volunteers to help with their adult literacy program. Maya had always loved reading and writing, and the idea of helping others learn these skills felt right. The orientation meeting was on a Tuesday evening. Maya arrived at the community center feeling nervous but excited. The building was older but well-maintained, with bright murals painted on the walls and the sound of laughter coming from various rooms. About 15 other volunteers showed up for the orientation. They were a mixed group of different ages and backgrounds, all united by their desire to help others. The program coordinator, Mrs. Rodriguez, explained how the center worked. Helped adults who had never learned to read properly, as well as people who wanted to improve their English skills. Reading changes lives, Mrs. Rodriguez said with passion. When someone learns to read, they gain confidence, better job opportunities, and the ability to help their own children with homework. Maya felt a warm feeling in her chest. This was exactly what she needed, a chance to focus on something bigger than her own problems. After the presentation, Mrs. Rodriguez divided them into pairs to practice teaching techniques. Maya found herself paired with a quiet man who had been sitting in the back row. He introduced himself as Kevin, and Maya noticed he had paint under his fingernails and sawdust on his shirt. "What do you do for work?" Maya asked as they practiced reading exercises together. "I'm a carpenter," Kevin replied with a shy smile. "I build cabinets and furniture, mostly. But I also teach woodworking classes here at the Center for Teenagers who need something positive to do after school." Maya was surprised. She had never met anyone who taught woodworking before. "That sounds really cool. Do you enjoy teaching?" Kevin's face lit up. "I love it. These kids come in angry or sad or just lost, and when they create something beautiful with their own hands, you can see them change. It's like magic." There was something gentle about the way Kevin talked about his students that Maya found appealing. He wasn't trying to impress her or show off. He genuinely cared about helping these young people. Over the next few weeks, Maya started volunteering at the center twice a week. She worked with adults who were learning to read, helping them sound out words and celebrating small victories. Her favorite student was Rosa, a grandmother who wanted to read bedtime stories to her grandchildren. Maya often saw Kevin in the hallways between classes. He would wave and smile, sometimes stopping to chat about how their sessions had gone. She learned that he had been volunteering at the center for 3 years, and that many of the teenagers he taught stayed in touch with him long after they finished his program. One evening, Maya was struggling to move a heavy box of books to her classroom when Kevin appeared beside her. "Let me help you with that," he said, easily lifting the box. "Thank you," Maya said, following him down the hallway. "You don't have to carry it all the way. It's no problem, I was heading in that direction anyway." As they walked, Kevin asked about her students. Maya found herself telling him about Rosa and how excited the older woman had been when she successfully read her first complete paragraph. "That's amazing," Kevin said, setting the box down in Maya's classroom. "You're doing really important work here." "So are you," Maya replied. "What you do with those teenagers sounds incredible." Kevin smiled and looked a little embarrassed. "They do most of the work. I just provide the tools and try to stay out of their way." After Kevin left, Maya realized something surprising. She had just had the most natural, comfortable conversation she'd had with a man in months. There had been no awkward silences, no trying to think of clever things to say, no worrying about whether she was saying the right thing. The following week, the center organized a community garden project. Volunteers from all the different programs would work together to plant vegetables and flowers in the space behind the building. Maya signed up immediately, on Saturday morning. She arrived in old clothes and gardening gloves, ready to dig in the dirt. Kevin was already there, measuring spaces for the garden beds and marking them with string. "You're here early," Maya said, walking over to him. "I wanted to get the layout done before everyone arrived," Kevin explained. "I've been thinking about this design all week." Maya looked at his careful measurements and neat markings. She really thought this through. "I like projects that bring people together," Kevin said simply. As the morning progressed, Maya found herself working alongside Kevin, planting tomato seedlings and discussing everything from their favorite books to their worst cooking disasters. She learned that he lived in a small apartment above his workshop, that he had taught himself carpentry by watching online videos, and that he collected vintage tools from garage sales. Kevin learned that Maya was a graphic designer who secretly wrote poetry in her spare time, that she was terrible at keeping plants alive despite her best efforts, and that she had once gotten lost for 3 hours in her own neighborhood. They laughed together as they worked, their hands dirty from the soil, sweat on their foreheads from the warm sun. Maya couldn't remember the last time she had felt so relaxed around someone new. When lunch break came, Kevin offered to share his sandwich with Maya, who had forgotten to pack food. They sat on a picnic table under a tree, eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and watching the other volunteers work in the garden. "This is nice," Maya said, looking around at the busy garden and the people working together. "It is," Kevin agreed. But when Maya looked over at him, he was looking at her instead of the garden. For the first time in months, Maya felt a flutter of possibility that had nothing to do with dating apps or family pressure or trying to be someone she wasn't. Over the next month, Maya and Kevin's friendship grew naturally. They would arrive at the community center around the same time and often walk to their cars together after their volunteer sessions. Their conversations flowed easily, covering everything from their childhood memories to their dreams for the future. One evening, he mentioned that he was working on a special project in his workshop. "It's a reading corner for the children's section of the center," he explained as they walked through the parking lot. "Mrs. Rodriguez asked if I could build something that would make the space more inviting for the kids." "That sounds wonderful," Maya said. "I'd love to see your workshop sometime, if that's okay." Kevin's face brightened. "Really? Most people find carpentry pretty boring. Are you kidding? Design things on computers all day? Getting to see someone create something real with their hands sounds amazing." The following Saturday, Kevin gave Maya the address to his workshop. It was in an older part of town, in a converted garage behind a small house. When Maya knocked on the side door, Kevin answered with sawdust in his hair and a huge smile on his face. "Welcome to my organized chaos," he said, opening the door wide. Maya stepped inside and gasped. The workshop was incredible. Tools hung neatly. On the walls, pieces of beautiful wood were stacked carefully on shelves. and in the center of the space sat the most gorgeous reading corner she had ever seen. It was shaped like a treehouse, with curved walls and small windows built low to the ground so children could climb inside easily. "Kevin, this is incredible," Maya breathed, running her hand along the smooth wood. "The kids are going to love this." Kevin looked pleased, but also a little embarrassed. "It's not quite finished yet. Still need to sand the inside and add some cushions." Maya walked around the reading corner, admiring every detail. Kevin had carved small animals into the wood around the windows and created tiny shelves perfect for children's books. "You're an artist," she said quietly. "I'm just a carpenter," Kevin replied, but Maya could hear the pride in his voice. "No, you're definitely an artist. This is a work of art that happens to be functional." As Kevin showed her around the workshop, explaining his tools and current projects, Maya realized something important. Kevin had faced his own kind of rejection, just different from hers. He told her about women who had lost interest when they learned he worked with his hands instead of sitting in an office. Women who thought carpentry wasn't a real career, or who worried about what their friends would think. "I went on a date once with this woman who worked at a bank," Kevin said, carefully sanding a piece of wood. "Everything was going great until she asked what I did for work. When I told her I was a carpenter, she actually laughed and said, 'Oh, like construction work.' When I tried to explain that I create custom furniture and teach kids, she just lost interest completely." Maya felt a flash of anger. "That's terrible. She clearly didn't deserve you." Kevin shrugged. "It happened more than once. I started to think maybe I should have gone to college, gotten some office job. But then I remember how I feel when I'm working with wood, or when I see one of my students finish their first project, and I know this is what I'm meant to do." Maya understood exactly what he meant. She had spent so much time trying to be what other people wanted that she had almost forgotten who she really was. "I know that feeling," she said. "I've been trying so hard to fit into someone else's idea of the perfect girlfriend that I lost track of what makes me happy." They worked together. For the rest of the afternoon, Maya helping Kevin sand the reading corner while they talked about their experiences with dating and rejection. It felt good to be honest with someone who understood. "You know what's funny?" Maya said as they took a break to drink some water. "I've been more myself around you in the past month than I was on any of those dates." Kevin smiled. "Same here. I don't feel like I have to prove anything or be someone I'm not." A week later, Maya asked Kevin if he would help her with a project. The community center wanted to update their website and promotional materials, and Maya had volunteered her design skills. But she needed photos of the programs in action. "Would you let me take some pictures of you teaching your woodworking class?" she asked. "I think showing the programs with real people would be much more effective than stock photos." Kevin agreed, though he seemed nervous about being photographed. The next Tuesday, Maya arrived early with her camera to capture Kevin's class in action. Watching Kevin teach was like seeing a completely different side of him. With the teenagers, he was patient and encouraging, celebrating their small victories, and gently guiding them through mistakes. Maya could see why his students stayed in touch with him long after graduating from the program. She captured photos of Kevin helping a shy girl learn to use a hand plane, and another of him laughing with a group of boys who had just successfully assembled their first birdhouse. In every photo, his genuine care for these young people was obvious. Later, as Maya was packing up her camera, one of Kevin's students approached her. "Are you Kevin's girlfriend?" the teenager asked with a grin. Maya felt her cheeks warm. "We're friends," she said. "Want to hear it talks about you all the time," the boy continued. "Kevin never talks about anyone, so you must be pretty special." That evening, Maya sat at her computer editing the photos from Kevin's class. In every single picture, Kevin looked confident, happy, and completely in his element. She realized that she had never seen him more attractive than when he was doing what he loved. As she worked on the website design, incorporating the photos and writing descriptions of the programs, Maya felt a warmth spreading through her chest. For the first time in her life, she was falling for someone not because she was trying to, but because she couldn't help it. 6 months had passed since Maya first walked into the community center, and her life had changed in ways she never expected. She wasn't just volunteering anymore, she had become part of a real community. Rosa, her literacy student, could now read entire chapters to her grandchildren. Kevin's woodworking students had completed their first major project, a beautiful bench for the center's garden. Maya and Kevin had grown closer with each passing week. They spent their free time together, whether it was working on projects for the center, exploring local farmers markets, or simply sitting in Maya's apartment talking for hours. Maya had never felt so comfortable with another person. The best part was that Kevin seemed to genuinely appreciate all the things about her that had driven other men away. When she went on passionate rants about social justice issues, he listened thoughtfully and asked questions. When she shared her poetry with him, he read every word carefully and told her how talented she was. When she got excited about a new design project, his eyes lit up as she explained her creative process. But Maya had started to realize something that both thrilled and terrified her. She was completely in love with Kevin. Not the desperate, clingy kind of love she had felt with previous crushes, but something deeper and calmer. She loved the way he hummed while he worked, the way he remembered small details about her stories, the way he made her laugh without trying to be funny. The community center was planning a big celebration to mark the completion of several major projects, including Kevin's reading corner and the garden they had all worked on together. Maya had designed new promotional materials, and several local businesses had donated food and supplies for the event, as Maya helped set up decorations the morning of the celebration. She watched Kevin installing his reading corner in the children's end area. A group of kids had already discovered it and were climbing in and out, their excited voices echoing through the space. "They love it," Maya said, walking over to Kevin with 2 cups of coffee. Kevin accepted the coffee gratefully.
I was
Worried it might be too small, but they seemed to fit perfectly. Maya watched him observe the children, noting how he had quietly adjusted the small bookshelf inside when he noticed one of the kids couldn't reach it properly. This was who Kevin was, someone who paid attention to details that mattered, someone who cared about making things better for others. "Kevin," Maya said quietly, "can I tell you something?" "Of course," he replied, turning his full attention to her. "Before I started volunteering here, I was miserable. I thought something was wrong with me because I couldn't make dating work. I was ready to give up on finding love completely." Kevin's expression grew serious. Maya, ... "Wait, let me finish," she said, her heart pounding. "Meeting you changed everything. Not because you fixed my problems, but because you helped me remember who I am when I'm not trying to impress someone." Kevin set down his coffee and took a step closer to her. "You never had to impress me. I liked you from the moment you offered to help carry that box of books." Maya smiled at the memory. "I've been thinking a lot lately about what I want for my future. I know this might sound crazy, but I can't imagine my future without you in it." "Maya, what are you saying?" She took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would either change everything or ruin the best relationship she had ever had. Maya had learned over the past 6 months that hiding her true feelings had never served her well. "I'm saying that I love you, Kevin. I love your kindness and your creativity and the way you make everyone around you feel valued. I love how patient you are with your students and how passionate you get about your work. I love that you see the best in people, including me." Kevin's eyes widened, and for a moment Maya worried she had said too much too soon. But then his face broke into the biggest smile she had ever seen. "I love you too," he said, reaching for her hands. "I've been wanting to tell you for weeks, but I was scared it was too soon." Maya felt tears of happiness spring to her eyes. "Really? Really? Maya, you're the most amazing person I've ever met. You're talented and kind and funny, and you care about making the world better. I fall in love with you a little more every day." Before Maya could respond, Kevin pulled a small wooden box from his pocket. Maya's breath caught in her throat. "I made this for you," he said, opening the box to reveal a simple but beautiful wooden ring. "I know we haven't been together very long, and I know this is probably crazy, but Maya, I can't imagine my life without you either. Will you marry me?" Maya stared at the ring, then at Kevin's hopeful face. 6 months ago, she had been desperately searching for someone to love her. Now here was this wonderful man offering her exactly what she had always wanted, not just love, but partnership, respect, and a future built on shared values. "Yes," she said, laughing and crying at the same time. "Yes, absolutely yes." Kevin slipped the wooden ring onto her finger, and it fit perfectly. Of course it did. Kevin paid attention to details like that. As he kissed her, Maya could hear the sounds of the celebration beginning around them. Children laughing in the reading corner, volunteers setting up tables. The community coming together just like she and Kevin had. Later, during the celebration, Mrs. Rodriguez asked Maya and Kevin to say a few words about their projects. They stood together in front of the group, Kevin talking about how the reading corner represented the importance of imagination and learning. Maya explaining how the new website would help the center reach more people who needed their services. But what Maya really wanted to say was that this place had given her something more valuable than she could have imagined. It had given her the chance to be herself completely, and in doing so, it had led her to the love of her life. When someone in the crowd asked how they had met, Maya and Kevin looked at each other and smiled. "We met right here," Maya said, "when we both decided to stop looking for love and start focusing on making the world a little bit better instead." The crowd applauded, but Maya barely heard them. She was too busy looking at the wooden ring on her finger and the man beside her, thinking about how sometimes the best things in life come when you stop chasing them and start being yourself instead.